Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today on Living Mythology, I am proud to bring you the Diana Montfort Show with Diana Montfort. Greetings, Diana Montfort.
Greetings, Hercules Invictus. I am Diana Montfort, the world's first transgender television journalist. I have to say that all the time because the gay political system here in New York told me we need our history, so make sure you mention that everywhere. Well, okay, I've mentioned it, okay? Moving right along, my guest is someone you've heard on our show maybe 2 months ago, world-renowned Jean Harlow expert, the top Jean Harlow expert on earth, Mr. Darryll Rooney, who has quite the impressive career on his own. He has written, I believe, 3 films.
I have written or co-written, 3 films, not necessarily all produced, but I've written 3.
And has directed 3 films, and these films are really something amazing. He's directed Lion King 2, Lady and the Tramp 2, Mulan 2, and he's written, I believe, Aladdin, Tron.
No,
Am I right or wrong?
No, I didn't write on either of those. I did story development, or I did special effects animation, things like that.
Wonderful. Darryll is was with the Disney company. He's a Disney animator, which is top of the line. It doesn't get any better than that. That is absolutely the nth degree of animation. And he's a fascinating guy. He also has a keen interest in the Titanic disaster. He's truly a Renaissance person. And we're going to talk to a really fascinating person right now. And if you're interested in Hollywood, not necessarily the golden age of Hollywood, but contemporary Hollywood, I want to know how you can get a toehold in the biz. This is the show for you. So, Darryll, where are you from?
I'm originally from small town Welland, Ontario, Canada. So I am Canadian A. Canadian A.
And Canadian A, does that mean what?
It means Canadians always say A at the end of every sentence. How you doing,
I see. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
In Argentina, they say che, which means like, hey. So now, tell us about your childhood and adolescence. You actually have a fascinating story about your first trip to Hollywood.
Okay, well, let's see. I grew up in a family where we drew, my sister and I drew all the time. Everybody in our family drew, and we did it because my mother would sit us down at the table when we were really young and say, draw me something. And it was a way to focus our energy and stop the screaming and yelling. So it sort of worked all the way around. I was the one I just didn't have any other skills. All I could do in the world was draw. So I figured I'm going to have to be an artist of some kind when I grow up. And that's something my father didn't think was a very good idea, but I didn't have any other skills. So I loved film. I loved cartoons. I loved Disney. I had a childhood dream of working at Disney when I grew up, which was kind of impossible if you were in Canada. I studied cartoon animation when I got out of high school as a way to get to Hollywood, and it kind of worked out.
Now, when you were 16, you took a short, quick trip to Hollywood, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. I skipped over that. So my dream in life was to live in Los Angeles, live in Hollywood, and just be part of the movies in some way. And the movies to me included Disney. And I love Disney animated features that I grew up on. And so I had to go to work for my father when I was 15 in the summer, and I was turning 16. Very naive, very naive kid, and clueless would be the operative word. And so my father did road construction, something that I'm not skilled at or born for in any way. And I just thought, if I have to go through this hell all summer long doing this job I don't want to do, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is I'm going to go to California at the end of the summer for a couple of days because I'm going to live there when I grow up. So I told my parents that, and they just went, sure you will, sure you will. I grew up in a family where the apron strings were tied really tight, and in my estimation, they were tied around my neck like a noose. And I just wanted to break those apron strings. Halfway through the summer, I kept on saying to my parents, at the end of the summer, I'm going to go to California someday or for a couple of days because when I grow up, I'm going to live there. So I have to go. Not true, but that was my reasoning. And they suddenly changed their attitude from, no, you won't, to, no, you won't. No, you're not. And at that point, I went, okay, stop talking about it, because this isn't an argument, but it just sort of furthered my resolve. I'm going to do this no matter what. And I have to do it, because if I don't, I will never be able to break those apron strings. At the end of the summer, I did. I snuck down to California for a couple of days. Didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to see Hollywood and I wanted to see Disneyland and see what it was like. And so when I first got on the plane, they shut the door. I just thought, what am I doing? Oh my God, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. And I felt like an absolute idiot. We landed in Los Angeles, and I just thought, oh, wait a minute, nobody knows I'm here. In the morning, I'll get on another plane, I'll go right back home. No one's ever going to know I've done this. Sun came up, I walked outside, this bus pulled up for Hollywood, and I went, I'm not so scared now. Got on the bus, and that was it. I was fine after that.
I take it you had money for a motel room and everything. And food.
Yeah, but I didn't really know how much hotel rooms were because I'd never stayed in a hotel room in my life. So I think at the time it was $30 a night or $60 a night at the Hollywood Highland Hotel, which is the only hotel that I stayed at. So I was so mad that it cost so much that I actually left the lights on all night long, just because I thought, well, if I'm going to spend this money, I'm going to waste electricity. And the other nights, I went back to the airport and I slept at the airport, thinking that nobody would bother me. I just say I was catching a flight in the middle of the night. But, there actually are no flights in the middle of the night, which I didn't know at the time. So it's kind of obvious what I was doing, but I didn't know any better. But
you had amazing determination and resolve for a young person.
Yes, I had amazing determination and resolve. I don't feel like I had courage, and maybe I did, but I didn't feel that way. I felt petrified, but I was determined. That much is definitely true. And
was it the definition of courage, being afraid but plowing forth anyway?
I guess that is true. So I did have that. Being afraid and doing it anyway. So maybe I was courageous, and I think my parents would not agree. They would think it was just foolhardy.
What happened when you got back?
Oh, they were so mad at me. My mom would not even talk to me, and so there, we got into a big argument, and it really just came down to one thing in this screening match. Something bad could have happened. And I said, well, nothing bad did happen. Only good things happened. So you have to let go a little bit. So I at least said my piece. And one of the things that happened when I was in California was I ended up on the Darryll Rooney show. And it was during a commercial break, but I got to go up on stage and meet Darryll and get an autograph. And
what an amazing kid you were. My God.
I had the luck of the Irish with me.
Yeah.
So in the queue, she picked me. So I thought I would be on camera when the show aired. So then when the show did air, I told my mom and dad, "Oh, this is the show I was on." So they call all their relatives. Everybody watches the Carol Burnett show, and I got cut out of questionnaire section. So, so that's what sort of made them forgive me. But then when I wasn't on, then they were sort of annoyed again. But anyway,
now that kind of determination and resolve, most people would think that that's what's needed to be a success in Hollywood. You have to not give up, have tunnel vision for what you want, and just go after it however you can.
That is what it is. I'm a success because I learned to put one foot in front of the other, no matter what an obstacle, no matter how much I thought, oh, this will never work out. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. Doors open.
Yeah, but most people who live in any town other than Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or wherever, any big city, they think, someday I'm going to Hollywood. And everyone, oh, yeah, sure. That's such a fantasy. Come on. Get real, get a real job, get married, have kids, do what everyone else does. Stop with these silly fantasies. But every now and then there's someone who says, no, I'm going to do it. And you're one of those very rare people who did it, and one of even the more rare people who had great success doing it. Yeah.
Well, I got some training so that I had a skill when I came to Los Angeles. And actually the way it worked out was I got a job with an animation studio in Boston even before I graduated from college. And they were moving to Los Angeles, so my way to get to Los Angeles was effortless when I was in my final year in college. So it was pretty much.
That shows great intelligence to figure that out.
Oh, well, I'm not going to argue with that.
Now you get to LA on a permanent basis. How do you get a job? I mean, the studio gates must be clogged with desperate people who want so much to be in the film industry. How do you get that lucky break?
Well, like I just said, I actually had a job when I came to Los Angeles. I came with the studio, so I worked there. And you know what the magic is? You get to know people that work in the business. You become friends with them. So all the people that I moved from Boston with to Los Angeles became my circle of friends. The studio started inviting people to the studio for meet and greets. We got to know other people. Later on, every studio that I worked with, I became friends with the people that worked there. And then you go to their parties. You go to their parties, and now it's called networking, but you basically get to know the people and make new friends, and then you call your friends and ask if they know of any jobs that are going on. That's how it happened. So I ended up working with all my friends 30 or 40 years.
I always heard that. Jim Collins always attributed her star-making role in Dynasty to being at the right party at the right time.
Yeah, and not that I like parties, but can't do it alone. You have to be surrounded by a circle of friends because you don't know where your next job's coming from.
Well, and also now, speaking of collaboration, making films, it's not a one-person thing. You have to work in collaboration and cooperation with many other people.
Yes. Yeah. I'll just take it from there. So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to make animated films, and I wanted to work at Disney, and that ended up happening. I did end up at Disney. And what I saw was there were so many people my age that were really, really good animators, drawing the characters, doing the character animation. and that wasn't my best skill. I could draw backgrounds really well. So I decided instead that I would do layouts because there were less competition and I was good at it. So I did that. I moved into storyboarding, and I studied improvisational comedy, and I studied acting, and I got it in my head that I wanted to be an animation director. And then I started working towards that. So I sort of learned every aspect of animation. I could do any of it, and I understood all of it, so that when I became a director, I could be a director because I understood every single department that would answer to me. Absolutely.
You are a remarkably intelligent person to figure all this out, and in your youth. It is brilliant.
Well, I've never had my IQ tested. I should have it tested someday.
I think they did test it when you were in 8th grade to get into high school. They tend to do that. And when we were young, they did that, I think. So, yeah. But, so, yeah, obviously your IQ is through the roof. So, but now you've also directed films, which is wonderful and amazing and thrilling.
Yes. You know, I've had a lot of fun in a lot of movies that I've done, and directing is the most satisfying thing you can do, unless you don't want to do it. It takes 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. It will eat your life, but it was incredibly fun and incredibly satisfying. You use every aspect of your personhood to direct. All your emotions, all your feelings, all your intelligence. Sometimes you have to write, sometimes you have to come up with jokes. You better be funny if you're going to do animation. You should know something about music, editing, background, color, style. You have to know all this stuff. So it's very, very satisfying.
Now, because you were working 18-hour days, 7 days a week, the money you were making, which must have been considerable, of course, you didn't have time to spend it. So you ultimately bought your dream home.
Yeah, I always lived in apartments, and then I started directing at Disney in 1990. I think it was 1994. And first thing I did was a short, a Three Little Pigs short that was supposed to be a parody of the Real World TV show, like a reality show. And, and then it turned out so well. The studio really liked me. I loved them. And they offered me Lady and the Tramp 2, the sequel to Lady and the Tramp, which is one of my all-time.
Awesome.
And I thought, oh my God, it's a dream come true. Yes, I'll take it. And then I was a couple of months into that, and then I got a call to go to the head of the division. Her name was Sharon Morrill, to go to her house on the weekends. And I thought, oh my God, I'm getting fired. What did I do wrong? So I go to her place, and I'm ready to hear the worst. And it wasn't the worst. What she had to say was Lion King 2 was having problems. They were having story problems, and they wanted me to take a break from Lady and the Tramp 2, go on to Lion King 2, and sort of right the ship. So that was a big
Do you mean
surprise.
like a script doctor?
Script doctor, a storytelling doctor. Where is it off base? Tap it back into the correct direction, whatever it's going to take, because they were so close to it, they couldn't tell anymore. And they could tell that I really understood Disney films, I understood storytelling, and I could deliver. And I also got along really well with people. So I I went into Lion King 2, and I could see, I could just see what the problems were. So I, corrected them, tried to step away, and every time I would step away, it would sort of go back to what it was, because it just didn't really have the right people in charge. And I realized that the only way this is going to work is I'm going to have to stay on the film. So I went to my boss, Sharon Morrill, and I said, here's what I think needs to happen. I need to stay on the film. What is that going to do to Lady and the Tramp 2? Because I don't want to give that up. And she said, we'll wait. We'll wait for you. Do Lion King 2, and Lady and the Tramp 2 will get pushed back in the schedule. So that's what happened.
Oh, great.
And
you're so valued by the studio.
So, yeah, and one of the unusual things about Lion King 2 is that my best friend is Roger Allers, who my first animation job was being his assistant in 1978. And, we've just been great friends all these years. He ended up directing Lion King with Rob Minkoff. And so I told them, this was slightly, I don't know, slightly arrogant. I said, the only way that I will do Lion King 2 is if my friend Roger Allers okays it. Kind of a stupid thing to tell him, but that's what I said. Because I wanted his support if I was going to do it, so that if I had a problem, that I could turn to him. And he ended up saying, I would rather you do it than anybody else. I would trust you with it. So I had Roger's secret support on the film.
That is great. Now, we're big on metaphysics on this show, and it seems that you manifest all the wonderful things in life you want.
I would say I don't manifest them all, but I have been lucky, and I think that I was sort of doing it without really knowing what it was, because the dream to go to Hollywood, was my entire childhood and teenage years, that I just dreamed of it. I had no idea how it would happen, and all I did was move towards it. And it happened by luck. When preparation meets opportunity, that's what luck is. I was prepared. Yeah. I was prepared, and an opportunity happened, and toggle switches in the universe all turned at the same time, and a door opened that I never saw coming. And it happened when I needed it, and it was absolutely miraculous. And I just thought, wow, oh, look, exactly what I said. My parents were so mad at me. So mad.
Why?
How I was. Because I was going to go live in Los Angeles. How dare I?
In what way? Like, how dare you get above the rest of us? That kind of thing?
No, I think it was more, how dare you leave us? How dare you go away from us? Well, this is my dream. And you know what? You can come and visit me anytime, all the time. But, my mom in particular just never was happy that I moved here.
You would think they would be ecstatic and telling people all over the place, my son is in Hollywood and he's a big success. You would think they'd be telling everyone.
Well, if any of that happened, that was kept from me. So, no, my mother always was not happy that I'd moved here. And the older she got, the worse it got. So actually on her deathbed, she still was going on about it. And all I could say is, Mom, you could come and visit me. You know, the door was always open. There was a period of time when she did, but then when she got older and started having, physical problems, then she stopped coming here. And, it was like she took it as like a betrayal against her, which it was not. It was my life and my dream come true. She just couldn't really make room for it.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about that. Is your father alive?
No, he's long gone. But
So both your parents are gone now.
Yeah. I mean, my mom got to see my major success, so that was good. But she got really uppity about it with other people. She would try and block people from getting access to me, which was really silly. But my dad, he died in the early 80s. So when he was still alive, I had already gotten to Disney the first time. That's right. So at least he saw that. And I was working on, was it Tron? I think I was working on Tron, and we were working 6 and 7 days a week because the studio schedule, the schedule for the production was impossible. And the only way to accomplish it was to just work 7 days a week. And we did. And I was making huge amounts of money. So I would send a Xerox copy of my check or my pay stub to my dad to show me, see, Dad, I'm doing art and I can earn a living. I'd never told him I was working 7 days a week, though. So
I am aware. My mother was a writer for 20th Century Fox movie tone here in New York. And, oh, boy, let me tell you, the studio system, it's a friend of ours, too. We loved it, I mean, the money kept rolling in. Long time ago, babe. But, yeah, it was really nice. But she worked the way you do. It was quite brutal, the long hours. Oh, God.
How I ever did anything else, because I worked, the first year or two that I was directing at Disney, I was so excited I could barely sleep because it was a dream come true and I couldn't believe it. And I thought I was really good at it and I could not wait to get to work. And so I would work, 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 or 7 at night, go home and then prep the next day and review other people's storyboards on the film I was on and make notes. And I'd be going to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 7 and let's go. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to the studio. I was so excited.
That is fabulous. That is wonderful. We read so many negative things about the system. Oh, Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson, everybody got screwed. Oh, it was awful. No, it wasn't. And a lot of people, we hear the tragic stories, but a lot of people had a lot of fun and made a lot of money.
It's a lot of fun. You can make a lot of money. Having power is hard to get. Making money is easier, much easier. But everything that movie stars talk about, your life is not your own, that's how I ultimately felt. The way I've always described it is I worked 10 years at Disney in an 8-year time period. And I had no control over my life. All I did was work all the time. And I felt like this is what a movie star felt like. Your life is not your own.
Yes, but you have a much longer span than most stars. Writers and animators and directors last much longer, as you know.
Yeah.
Now, would you do it again if you were a kid now, and now knowing what you know, would you do it again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I would probably try and safeguard myself and protect myself more.
Protect yourself from what?
From the studio wanting all of my time. No,
they do that for everyone.
I stop at midnight, no matter what. I stop at midnight. Oh, here's a good example. I mean, a couple of years to figure this out. I did Lion King. It rolled right into Lady and the Tramp with no break. That rolled right into Mulan with no break. So on Lion King, most of our voice talent was in New York. And so we would fly to New York on the weekend and record Matthew Broderick, James Earl Jones, fantasy stuff, wonderful, wonderful experiences. But I went to New York like 32 times in a year and a half, only on the weekends. So I was working 7 days a week for a year and a half. Hard to get anything else done in the world unless you stay up all night catching up with your life, which is that's what I would do between midnight and 4. I would catch up with my own life.
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah. So after a couple of years of that, I thought, wait a second, I'm working 7 days a week. I'm getting really, really tired. And once you stumble, it is really hard to catch up. And that's what happened. I got so overtired and exhausted that I was borrowing energy from next week to get through my current week. So it became a really unhealthy situation.
Speaking of stars, you were very close to the late child actress Cora Sue Collins, who died very recently at the age of 98, I believe.
Yeah.
And you are writing her biography.
I am. I have known her since like 2017. And in 2018, I did a really extensive interview with her and wrote a 20-page article in a magazine, a film history magazine called something like Golden Reels or something. So I have tons of recordings with her. And I always felt like, I'm going to expand this into a book someday. And it just became clear to me, I can't work for a living and write this book. It's not possible. I had done it with my previous book, Harlow in Hollywood, and realized, I don't have the energy to do that anymore. I just can't do both. So I couldn't write it until I retired. So I started this last year, and I used to go see Cora Sue every week. And so this gave me something very specific to talk to her about. Here's what I've written so far. She'd read it, or I'd read it to her, and she might tell me some more things that were more quotes to add, or she might say, it didn't really happen like that. It happened like this. So I had her input all the way through it up until the week that she passed away. So I got as far as the end of the Queen Christina premiere in February of 1934 with her. And I read that to her, which I thought I wrote it really well, because I wrote it as if you were walking beside her and her experience of being at the premiere. So she got to, it was the last thing that I read to her, and she got to experience it again. And I told her things that she had long forgotten. With some research I'd done, she was actually in the pre-show, which was the Sid Grauman Franz Schoen and Marcos show. And at the very end of the show, little Queen Christina comes out and is presented to the audience. And she'd completely forgotten that she'd done that.
Oh, wonderful. So. Well, she gave you amazing information. You once wanted to know what color a Jean Harlow dress was that she wore to her birthday party that's in the film China Seas, and she told you, well, it was blue stripes, because she was right there.
Yes, and she also was a genius. Her IQ, it turned out, was 151, so she is in a very high percentage rate in population. Super smart, very aware, very self-aware as a 3-year-old. And so she just was really cognizant of everything. So she could remember the color of the dress she wore, the dress that May Robson wore. And I thought, well, she remembers those two. She might remember Jean Harlow. And she looked up into her memory side of her eyes. I think when you look to the left, you're pulling from your memory. And she said, blue stripes, all different shades of blue. And that's exactly what it was, because it was a chevroned striped dress.
Yes, and they always used to use blue. Is wonderful for black and white photography, as you know. So.
And
for the panchromatic film.
And it's great for someone with blue eyes. Must look dazzling.
Bobby Brown said she had green eyes, but okay.
No, that's in a movie magazine. It's just not correct. They were blue.
Okay.
And I've got artwork done by people who
I've seen it. It's wonderful.
Painted her in person.
Bill Edmondson, for one.
Exactly.
But back to you now. What?
Yes. Oh, he was one of the my first touches with old Hollywood history. And he was such a nice... I just have to tell you this part. That the way he talked about the way they worked back then, it was like a cottage industry. Nobody thought that it would necessarily last 50 years. So they were friends with stars because there was no above the line, below the line delineation. He was such a nice man. I was so bummed that I missed the 1930s. Anyway, now we can talk about me.
Okay. And just as an aside, if you want the definitive book on the great 1930s actress Jean Harlow, I can't say enough about it. Get Harlow in Hollywood. It is it. There will never be a more comprehensive, in-depth study of an actor's life than this. I mean, he has contracts and he has everything in it. It is amazing. You will be thrilled with it. And even if you're not a big Jean Harlow fan, by the time you're through with it, you will be. So now back to you. What would you like to tell us that I haven't covered?
Well, I printed out my resume so that I would have a cheat sheet here. Well, here's something I'll tell you. On Lady and the Tramp 2, I worked for Disney Toons Studio, which was Disney TV animation that permutated into a direct-to-video studio. And so we worked with smaller budgets than feature animation did. So the idea of doing Lady and the Tramp again with a lower budget was a challenge. And I felt really protective of the franchise, of the look of the film, and I fought for things that the studio didn't want to give me. And mostly, yes, I think I won everything on Lady and the Tramp.
What did you fight for that they did not want to give you?
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at. So with Lady and the Tramp, one of the key things about the house that she lives in is it has wallpaper. Every room has wallpaper on it. So that takes a certain amount of time to paint patterns on walls. And the money side, the executives that were in charge of money in my division told me, we can't afford to do the wallpaper, so you're going to have to work around it. And I went, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to pretend that they're repainting the house during the sequel? Because it's the same house. I have to have wallpaper. Well, you can't afford it. We can't afford it. We're not going to do it. So I went, okay. I left the meeting and I thought about it, and I thought, there's another way around this. And then I got this idea. CGI was not in its infancy, but it wasn't making whole films yet. It was being utilized, and we were using it to do a vehicle in Lady and the Tramp 2. So I thought, wait, what if we did texture mapping, which is a CGI process? We could take the wallpaper, paint it once, texture map it, and put it on all the walls that we need. And that way, we're not paying to do it as a background element. We're paying to do it under CGI, which is under research and development. It's a whole different pile of cash. And they went, yes, we'll do that. And that's how the walls got painted in this movie. But
you're really brilliant. You know that, don't you? You really are brilliant.
Well, it's not like anybody helped me with that. It's not like they suggested, maybe there's another way to do it. Let's put our heads together. Nothing like that. It was just, this is what we're saying, tough it out. And instead of doing that, I figured out another way to do it. And that is part of what succeeding is that you don't take no for an answer and you figure out another way to get it. I was good at that time.
Yes. Well, now you're also writing another book, which we cannot discuss in detail, about, I believe, a male matinee idol film star.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. I have been lucky enough to get to know that person's family. And their story fascinates me. And so I'll give you this much. The book is not about the single celebrity. It's about the entire family. So it's looking at that movie star's life through the prism that they experienced their life in. They were one of a group of children. This is about the whole family, how they all grew up together and went from childhood to old age. I think it's a really fascinating way to look at someone's life.
Absolutely. Do you see yourself becoming a full-time author in the future? Or are you one now, actually?
Well, I'm a full-time author right now because I'm foolishly writing 2 books at once, which I don't. Well, now it's not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I've been doing it for a couple of months. It's sort of like playing piano, where your left hand does this and your right hand does something different. So you can do 2 things at once.
Well, when you're writing 2 books, I'm sorry, yes?
I find that it works because when I hit an impasse on one of the books, I take a break and I go work on the other one.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. And I am smart enough to know that when you have a creative problem to solve, you don't have to beat your brains out trying to solve it. You can just sort of put it in your computer brain, go for a walk, go somewhere else, because the back of your brain is solving it. I remember when I was at Disney Feature Animation, that's what I would do a lot when I was trying to brainstorm ideas. I, would sort of like fill my brain up with the information and then take a break and go outside and go for a walk, or, I don't know what, just anything that wasn't animation. And then eventually an idea would pop in my head, and I just knew it's the back of my head that's solving this. So I may look like I'm just at a party, but I'm really working.
Right. After these 2 books, do you have another book coming down the pipeline?
I do. I need to write Harlow before Hollywood. I have all this information of Arlene Carpenter was, and it's not in Harlow and Hollywood because that's about the Hollywood years. There's a little bit in there, but I have so much more. And the one thing that I learned, man, oh man, if you want to know about somebody's life, learn about their childhood. Everything you need to know is right there. You get to know what their character is and the people around them, so that when you read the adult stuff, you understand what's going on.
Well, she was the exact opposite of what she played. When she was growing up, she was a little princess, and she played gals from the wrong side of the tracks, which is interesting, isn't it?
Well, I think that she played gold diggers, and she just understood what they were like, and it's because her mother was a gold digger. Her mother divorced her father when Harleen was 10 or 11 and went to Hollywood, and she's out to find a rich man. And the way she did it was that she would hang out in hotel cafes during the day and meet rich men. She almost hooked a guy in Los Angeles when she was here in 1924, 25. He ended up not falling for it. So then she ended up going back to Kansas City, then went to Chicago and thought she hooked a rich man with Marino Bello. This is Jean Harlow's mother. Turns out Marino Bello was playing her just like she was playing him. They both thought each other were rich. Wah, wah. That didn't quite work out.
Yeah, really.
So then the daughter became...
but on the other hand, they were the same personality type. So they would understand each other at least, you know?
They were both predators, and they understood each other. And Jean Harlow's life is, she is a puppet to her mother, the puppet master.
You told me something shocking earlier today, that Harlow's mother pretty much advised Jean Harlow Jr., advised Harleen to be real nice, in quotes, to the producers to get parts in films.
I didn't read it anywhere. I just know it's true. I just know that she would have been very practical. This is what you have to sell. You've already been married. You're not a virgin. Use it. She's also, responsible for Harleen posing semi-nude with Edwin Bauer Hesser in 1929. So,
which Chuck McGrew wanted to use in the divorce.
Yeah,
proceedings.
And this is what amazes me is that Harleen denied that the pictures existed, which is crazy because they.
Hello.
I guess she that he would never show them in court. Can you still hear me?
Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if someone wants to contact you, would that be possible?
You can contact me.
Or would you prefer not to be contacted? Well,
I don't want to,
perhaps. What?
I don't want to. I'm not someone who can get you a job, so don't contact me to get you a job.
Right.
You can ask me about something, but I don't have time to be your big brother. Put it that way. Here's one. I made Lion King 2 in, oh gosh, when did it come out? I don't remember. I'm going to just say the year 2000 because I don't quite remember. Maybe it was 1999. So ever since 1999, the most asked question I've ever had is, Kovu, was he supposed to be Scar's son? And it's like, it's been 30 years, and I'm so tired of talking about it. Studio, they should pay me to answer that question. and the truth of it was that in the original script, he's supposed to be Scar's son. And then Michael Eisner said, "Hey, that's like incest, so no, he can't be his son." And so it got changed for studio reasons. There's no sensible genealogy to it all. And I know that in the Lion King world, there are people that, track all this stuff and take it really seriously. And it was a studio decision. It had nothing to do with anything beyond, Simba's daughter can't marry Kovu if it's Scar's son, because that's like incest. That's like marrying your cousin. No.
In spite of what all the royal families have been doing since the dawn of time, yeah.
Yeah.
But they relentlessly marry their cousins, whether they know it or not, actually. But okay. But so you would prefer not to be contacted?
You can ask me a question, but you can't ask me 50 questions. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I won't give my email address because that becomes too personal.
Right, exactly. So, well, I'm the same way. I always say you can contact me through Hercules, the producer of this show, you know. So, no, but of course I'm computer illiterate, so good luck with contacting me. But anyway, so if you had some advice for young people right now listening, how to make a dent in Hollywood, what would it be?
I think that you have to be so good that they can't not afford to hire you. That's my advice. That is the philosophy that I laid on myself. I have to be so good that they can't not hire me. And I can do 10 different things. I'm a hyphenate. If you don't hire me for this, oh, you can hire me for this. Or you could hire me for this. You want jokes? I'll give you jokes. You want it written? Here it is. You want character design? Here it is. Color? Here it is. So you just have to. I spent my entire 20s in school. I took every class I could think of. So you have to continue your education. You have to become an expert at as much as you possibly can in whatever field it is that you're interested in.
And certainly pursue, if possible, a field you're interested in. Don't just take a job because it might be good economically, but it's killing your soul.
Don't take a job if it's killing your soul. You have to, that price is too high. You have to work with your soul, and magic happens when you do that. Doors open that you wouldn't necessarily see. You have to really figure out what you're passionate about, even if it's a couple of things and you can't decide which one is the most important. Follow one, then follow another, and see which doors open.
Yeah.
So, I studied acting and I studied improvisational comedy, and it was really, really important to do because it made me realize, oh, I like directing. That's what I'm going to do. And I don't think I would have figured it out other than having done that.
Did you ever want to be an actor?
I did, but I didn't feel like I had the right personality for it. I'm not
okay.
extrovert. I think you have to be an extrovert to be an actor, to be a successful actor, and I'm not. So
no, but that you have to be an introvert to be a successful artist, don't you think?
No, you can be an extrovert and be an artist.
Okay, well, I guess. But anyway,
yeah.
So my guest has been the truly amazing Renaissance person, Mr. Darryll Rooney, who is a director, an animator, who is the author of the book Harlow in Hollywood, which is the standard for studying the life of the great 1930s actress, Miss Jean Harlow. Darryll is writing a book on the child actress of the 30s, Miss Cora Sue Collins, whom he knew very well. And
she knew.
I'm sorry?
And she knew Jean Harlow.
Yes. And she collaborated on the book in the sense that she gave him countless recordings of the happenings at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in the 1930s, and she knew both the glory and the underbelly, as you will find out when you read Darryl's book on Cora Sue Collins. And is also working on another book about a matinee idol, and about his family and what shaped him and what made him who he was. That is a secret. We will know when it is published. Anyway, I'm Diana Montford. This has been the Diana Montford Show, and our appearances on Zoom will be sporadic. We are, doing various things, but I love to connect with you and we will see you soon. And if you wish to contact me, you may do so by contacting Hercules Invictus, the producer of this show. And if you want to contact Darryll, you may ask him one question, not many. And, you know, he likes his privacy. So buy his books. You'll know more about him that way than any other way. That's it.
Yes. Me.
What?
I bought your book. That's the first thing you should say to me.
That'll get
help.
any author's attention. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, oh, and by the way, should you wish an autographed copy of Harlow in Hollywood, you would contact Darryll directly, I believe. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, contact me either through Instagram or Facebook. I'm happy to sell you an autographed copy of Harlow in Hollywood, or if you send me yours, I'll sign yours.
There you go. And I'm going to have to send you mine or buy one from you or something. But anyway, because I have it, but not autographed. So anyway, what can I say? This has been it. Look for Darryll Rooney's books. They are fascinating. He knows everything about Hollywood because he's been there and he is one of the major players in the Hollywood scene. And we will see you next time, whenever that may be. Hercules?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I had a wonderful time.
Go ahead.
Oh, I had a wonderful time. Thank you very much, Diana.
And thank you.
I had a wonderful time, and thank you very much. And you are fascinating.
I'm looking forward to 3.
What's that?
Thank you
I
for
missed that from her.
you. I'm looking forward to part 3. Take care of you, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. This is Hercules from Mount Olympus signing out.
Bye.